Before you take the bumper cover off, there's a couple of screws here, torque screws, that you need to loosen up. So once you loosen those up, then it loosens the bumper cover up. Now my bumper cover was already falling off, so I just basically was able to release it pretty easily. But there's two torque screws on each side that need to be loosened, and it loosens this bracket here. Once you loosen that bracket, it lets you detach the bumper cover and then get it out. And then to put it back on, we would hook it and then tighten them up. Today we got a 2001 Volvo S60 and our windshield wiper reservoir is leaking. So we're going to go ahead and replace that today. In order to do that, we have to take the bumper cover off, which involves taking some clips off the top of here, taking some moldings off. There's some bolts under there, and then there's I think there's a bolt on that side. We got a used one. Picked up a used tank at the junkyard. So we're gonna go ahead and see. Hopefully, it's cracked down here and not on the pipe on the top because we couldn't find the pipe for it. But we're gonna go ahead and replace that now. So you want to either use like a plastic tool, or I mean, if you don't have that, then maybe like a thin flathead screwdriver to get behind here. Just gotta be careful with the paint, and you want to try to get underneath here. Just take that right off. See, it comes right off and unsnaps all the way. Comes off fairly easy. It's got some clips that hold it in. And then there's actually a bolt right here. Like it's a 12mm bolt. So we want to go ahead and take that off. We want to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side and take the other molding off. There's a little opening right here so you can get in there and just kind of pull it. And set that aside. And then take off the bolt that's in here. So next, we want to take off, there's some clips right up top of here. There's about 6 of them. So you want to take your panel tool removal, or clip removal, just get underneath them and take those off. It's just like a little clip that pulls up. So it's basically 2 pieces. This piece goes in and then this piece slides in and then locks into place. So you want to set those aside once you get them out. Get both pieces of the clip out. Again, set those aside, and then we're going to install those later. So now this is getting pretty loose. Now this side of the bumper on the passenger side over here was actually already loose because I think the car was hit. So this was actually just on there, like so. All I did was pull and it came off. The other side's not coming off as easy, so I'm going to have to see why or what else is holding it on there. But this side came off fairly easy. So we got that loose. So I'm wondering if I just push that way, if it'll come out. And it looks like it might. So let's take it to the other side. That side off. So now, let's see how this side just comes out. Oh, there it goes. So it slides back. So putting it back in, we have to hook it to come like that. So that came off really easy. And that's pretty much all there is to it, I guess. Now there is some of these have a sensor or something down here. Like this one has a clip right here. You just push down and it unplugs. That's pretty much how you take that bumper cover off. So basically there's clips up on top here. Then you take off these plastic covers which have 2 bolts in there, which are 12 millimeter. And then you want to do is you want to pull towards you and then push back so that it unhooks from the sides. And then this comes out as one piece. So now you can see the actual tank. I think what we're going to do next in order to get to that, I'm not sure if I have to take off the headlight, but I'm going to. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. Basically there's 2 bolts on top right here for the headlight. So I took those 2 off, they're 10 millimeter. And then there's one over here on the inside, right here, that you need to take off. And the one on that inside has a bigger washer on it. So we want to make sure we remember that. Next, we want to take this little cover off of here to give us a little bit more access, because I think when we try to pull this tank down, it's going to hit on this cover. So got one 10 millimeter bolt there, and then it's got a couple of torque screws right here. And basically has 2 little torque screws right there. Now this piece should either be loose. There we go. So now we're just going to kind of move it out of the way a little bit so we can actually access this. Another 10 millimeter bolt right in the middle here. We're just going to take that off. I don't know if it's attaching this metal piece or it's holding the tank in place too. So we're going to take that off just in case. Right here, another 10 millimeter bolt right behind here. It's for the light. Now our light should be free. We're going to unplug. We're going to go ahead and unplug the light. There's just 2 plugs to it. Just push down on the 2 push pins and then unplug them. There's a plug here and a plug there. You just push down on the little clips here. That'll come out. Set that light aside. So now we can actually see in here a lot better. And from the looks of it, there's a bolt here. Looking at the tank that we picked up, the position looks like it's something like that. So it's telling me there's 3 bolts. I got one here and one back of here that I can get to. And this one, we're going to take off that spout, which is also a Torx. So right next to here, next to the spout, there's a Torx screw right there. I believe they're pretty much almost all the same size. Yeah. Torx screw. So I'm going to set that up here just so I take a bunch of stuff off now. I want to remember where everything goes, just so I can remember that it goes up on top. Probably the same size, but we don't want to take a chance. Spout, that I just take off, goes right inside there. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but basically all I did was I wiggled it loose, and now what we do want to do is we want to detach this hose up on top. Now it just sits here, it's like a breather hose. So we want to just detach that so when we pull the tank down, the hose comes down with it. So we want to feed that hose down out here. So when the tank goes straight down, we don't have a problem with it. So now this spout could just pull up and pull out. So basically, this spout was sitting in here, now it just pulls out. So we're going to put that in after we retrofit our other tank. We're just going to set that up here side for a sec. Right here. I'm going to take this first bolt off. I believe it comes off from the bottom, because the nut's actually soldered in or welded in. The nut's welded in. So we're going to go and take this this bolt off from the bottom. So now you can see right here. You can see right here, right underneath here, where this bolt is right here, the screw's right underneath it. So we're going to get underneath there, break it loose. And break that loose. Take that bolt out of there. It's also a 12 millimeter. So there's 3 of them. There's one here. There's one on the inside over here, which you got to get from under here, under the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a long extension. Suppose you'll see them. They're like right across from each other. Once I got that broken loose, I'll just use my drill to take it completely out. Much faster. Same type of bolt. Just measure and make sure they're the same size in case we put them in the wrong spot. See, we already took that one off and the one back there off from underneath, and then there's one more back there. And so I can't get you in there with the camera very well at all. You just gotta have to feel under there, take a long socket and do the same thing that I just did to get you under there, but it's very hard. I would have to lift up the car in order to get under there for you to see very well. So I'm just gonna take my long socket, try to feel under there, kind of move the plastic a little bit as much as I can, and then feed my long extension. Hopefully I can catch it on the first try. Now this looks like it's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to need an extra extension to extend it a little bit longer, because it seems like it's really deep up in there. So what I'm trying to do is pull back on this plastic that we loosened, so I have a little bit of access to be able to try to get to that bolt. And the only drawback is we can't really see the bolt unless we lift up the car. I got lucky. I got it on there. It's a little bit tough. So I'm going to break it loose with my ratchet, and I think I'm going to have to take it off with my ratchet because I don't think I can fit my drill in there. So these usually aren't that tight. There it goes. I believe those 3 are the only thing holding the tank in there. Got it out. That's going to be the fun one to put in. I could already tell. So now what we want to do is want to make sure that nothing else is holding this in here. So from the looks of it, we do have a hose here that goes to the little motor on the bottom. I think the motor's good on the one we have here. So I think we're going to use the same motor on the one we have. That way it's less install for us. So we're working down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to first unplug the motor. So I'm going to unplug that, and we want to get this motor out, so it should just unsnap. Let's see. Trying to see how it goes in there. Okay, so it just comes out. You just wiggle it out. It's going to throw some water there. So well, luckily it didn't have a whole lot of windshield wiper fluid in there. So basically all I did was unplugged and pulled it out towards me, because I'm going to reuse this one. And now there's also the hose is attached right here to the side, so we just want to unclip it. Okay. Next is, so we just took off the little motor. Okay. Gotta try to set that aside. Get out of the way. And then there's a harness right here on the side that goes underneath the tank. Let me show you on this one. So on this one here, this is the same exact tank, but this is the one we're going to install. So this is the motor that's here, and then underneath the tank there's an actual plug. So we need to go ahead and unplug this. Okay. It just popped out. So the way you take this one off is you just push right here, right on this middle part. There's like a slot right in the middle. You push down, and that actually pushes the whole little thing inside, and then you pull it. But it's kind of tough to push it in there and then pull it out at the same time. So we got that out. Hopefully we just slide out. There we go. So just remember where you pulled the hose out. I believe it comes up through here. It come under here, and then it comes up through here, and it goes back onto the spout. There's the culprit right there. There's a crack right on this side. Probably when the car got hit in the front, it nicked it. It could probably be patched, but we got a used one, so we're just going to go ahead and replace it. So it's sitting like that. Give it just a quick wipe down. And then we're going to detach anything that we need to take off, so that, you know, because we have the other one that has, this one already had, the original one has this plug. So does this one, the other tank. So we're going to go ahead. Now, I don't know if the sensor on this one is good. I know the sensor on my tank is good. Just don't know if I can get the sensor out and not damage it, because sometimes when you take them off they break. But I know the sensor's good because it was marking it was empty. And the one that we got from the junkyard, we're not too sure if it's good. I mean, it looks like it might be okay, but looks can be deceiving. The problem is if we start taking this stuff off, you don't know what's going to happen. So what we could do is we can actually leave the one that we got from the junkyard on there and install it. We'll turn on the car and it should show that it's low. If it doesn't show anything, it means that the sensor's no good. We don't want to fill it up, because then if we pull it out, it's gonna drain out through there. So, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So first thing I need to do on the used one we picked up is take off that harness, because they just cut it. So I'm gonna try to do what we said we were gonna do here. Just push down. Now this one looks a little bit older than the one we got. See it right there. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Found a better way to do this. So from the side that it plugs in, you can actually see that little notch that was in there. You can see it from this side. Push down on it and then pull, it comes right out. It's a lot simpler that way. So now we have our plug there. Let's take a look at the other tank. What else do we need? Okay, we need to take this hose off the top and put that hose back on here. Make sure it's all the way down. If you needed to take the gasket off, you could do that. We're going to leave the one that we got because it seems like it's in fairly good shape. It doesn't look like it's cracked. But let's double check it. Now, it just looks a little dusty. So go ahead and clean that real quick. It's kind of dirty. I'm not going to get some of that stuff off of there. So that's pretty much all I need. There is a sensor on the original one. Again, there's a sensor here in case we need it that we can pull out, and then we have to unclip it from here. Again, I'm going to leave that for now. And then the tank that we picked up already has the motor on there, but we're going to use the motor that we picked up because we know that that one works. The one on this tank, I don't know if it works or not. And besides, this one is set up with a couple of different hoses that ours doesn't have. So ours only had one hose here. The one they sold us has two, but that doesn't matter because it has a splitter here. So it's made for a different type of system as well. So it's not just one. It's one tank, a couple different systems. So we're going to take that out. We're going to get our motor and put it back in there. It's just pressurized, goes in like that. I'm going to take our harness from the bottom and snap it into the motor. That clips into there. And then we'll plug this one in last. So the next thing would be those harnesses out of the way for now. And then this is going to clip on. Remember, it was on here. This hose was here and here. So we're going to put that back on like it was. And then we're going to route this. We're going to route the tank back up here. Grab that hose. And we'll try to feed this tank back up there. Just make sure you don't catch the hose in here in this metal thing that's right here. Make sure you're able to get it all the way up there first. There we go. So now it went back in. Make sure nothing came unplugged. We're good there, we're good there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of those bolts right here just to hold this in place. So just hand tighten that just so that it holds in place. Don't put it all the way in there because then you might have to, because you got to get all the bolts in first. So then now we're going to go and get the bolt that's across from there on the other side. It's more like a feel for me. Just try to find the hole and then line it up. This is why you don't want to tighten it up, because you want to make sure that you can turn this tank a little bit so that it lines up like it's supposed to. I'll make sure nothing's in the way. Bolt in there. I mean, the hole's pretty large for that entrance, so it'll go in, and then you basically just got to find the nut on the top, which is the one that's welded in. And then here goes the back one. That one's the hardest one. That's the one I was telling you I thought we were going to have a hard time with. So you got to pull the panel back a little bit so you can have a little bit of room in there. So the key is, when you're trying to get that last one in there, is to kind of push the tank all the way back, and then you can guide it in. So I got that one in too. So I got all three of them in there now. I'm going want to hand tighten that back one as hard as I can. And then we want to go in back with our ratchet. I can get my hand in there to kind of sit it back on there so it makes it a little bit faster. And then just hand tighten it, because these weren't super tight. So we'll go ahead and tighten all three. Okay. So those three are tight. Those are the lights. Okay. So this one, this extra plug that wasn't on there, I think broke off the bumper, like the other side that we disconnected. I didn't see it, but this one had actually broken off. It's some kind of a sensor, I think, or maybe it's just a dummy plug. I'll fix that when I get to that. I'm going to fix that inside of that bumper. So now, the bottom right here is that plug we were talking about. So now we're just going to plug that back in. Just make sure it's all the way in. It doesn't really have a security tab. Let's just make sure it's kind of tight. And actually, the hose goes here, and I believe the harness goes right here. I thought the hose went there too, but it doesn't. The harness goes right there. That's what keeps that lined up nice and neat. Alright. I'm just going to kind of put that back on there. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put that top piece back on there. We're going to put our spout back on there. We're going to hook up, put the screw back on to put the little hose through there. And then fill it up with, we're just going to fill it up with water for right now. But you can get some windshield wiper fluid if you want. So now we just got to feed that down in there. So make sure we get the hose up first. Get the hose up here so it's sticking out right here. And then get the spout, kind of spin it. So we're going to feed this tank. We're gonna get this down in there, but before we put it in there, we want to make sure to get this hose on here and just clip it onto the side of the deal here. It's gonna be a little tough as you're trying to get it in there. Try to get that hose on that clip part there, because it's gonna be hard to get for you to get your fingers in there. So kind of put it in like that, and then what we're gonna do as we're putting it in, we're gonna spin this and turn it. Push down and turn, spin and turn, and then boom, it goes down, and then it's going to go right underneath there, and then now we're lined up, and then our bolt will go back on there. So we're just going to put it on there like that for now. We're not going to tighten it down because we're going to put some water in there to make sure that we're not leaking again and that the sensor's working. We're going to put some water in here to make sure that this thing's working. It's not leaking. And that the sensor's working. So we're going to go ahead and fill that up. Now you could use windshield wiper fluid. I'm not using any of that right now. I'm just going to test this out. We can always just take the that little motor out and drain it. Once we drain it, we can go ahead and put windshield wiper fluid. A lot of people just use water in here. That's up to you. So we're looking down here. so far so good. We're not leaking. Let me pry this all up, make sure that we don't have any type of a leak. This tank is good. So far so good from there. Not leaking from there. And we're about filled up to about here on the tank. So we're just going to put some more in there to fill it up to about the neck. Now I'm just right here, I'm actually just using straight filtered water. Oops, I'm dripping. Right there took about 1.5 gallons. And I'm still not filled up all the way. I'm about right here. The sensor should at least work now because it's past the level on the bottom. So I'm going to turn the key on real quick and then see what it does. And if it giving us a message over here that, let's check the messages. Bulb failure. Okay, that's because I disconnected the light. Okay, no big deal. Let me plug that back in, but we're not getting anything. It's just the bulb because I don't have the headlight in there yet. So we're good there. So it's not leaking. The sensor is working now, so we don't have to worry about taking the sensor off the other one. Get that out of the way. We'll top this off later. What I want to do is start putting all this stuff back together. So the next step is we're going to put the headlight in. So let's make sure that we plug it in first. Now usually these plugs only go in one way, so just push them and they snap in. And there is one bolt here, and then we have the 2 here and the 1 on the side, so there's 4 total. So let's get that light back in there. And just make sure all the bolts on the top right here, they line up. So what I like to do is, again, push the light like it's in and put the bolts in by hand first. Don't tighten them all the way down. That's right here. Make sure again to push in the light as far as you can as you're doing that. And then this one I'm going to use the drill just because I can't get my fingers in there, just to kind of line it up. So they're all pushed in. Okay, so the light's now secure. So the next step is going to be to put this plastic piece back on there. So you want to kind of pull that way, get it over the hump, and then line these back up right here. Put those on first. Let's put those in by hand first. We got those in there. Now we got to put in our 2 10mm. One goes right here. This one with the black The black screw actually goes here to the metal, not where the plastic is. Okay, then the last screw should be silver. That one's going to mount the plastic to the metal. Okay, so what we want to do, make sure our plugs are plugged in. We want to grab this bumper cover and lay it up here on top first. Try to line up the best you can here, and at least put the base of the clip in there just so it doesn't fall. So you're not sitting there trying to hold it. So that'll at least hold it in place so I can work the sides over here first. There's a guide here. I'm going to put it in through the guide, lock it into place, and then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten the Torx screw that's right here, which will basically hold that in place right there for us. I'm going to turn the wheel the other way so I can get to the other side. Make sure that these little panels on the little things that hold the actual cover on are loose. This one's sure it lines up here, and it goes on there, and that line is nice and straight. This comes around here, and then you can tighten the little Torx bolt. We got to put a bolt there and on the other side to finish that, and then put the covers back on it. Got that on there. And then we'll just reinstall the side pieces in reverse order, which is basically just snapping them into place. You start from the outside, flip it in, and just follow it all the way. That's pretty much it. Okay. So the last two steps is basically put the last little screw here for the top of the windshield wiper reservoir tube. I'm going to mount that down, and then we're going to put the clips in, finish putting the clips up here, and all that's going to involve is basically pushing on this front of this cover and pushing the clips down. Now again, they do come in two pieces. If you can get them in like that, then all you got to do is get that part in and then just push down. So what I'm going to do is try to push and then push down. The way this works is basically you have the clip like this, and you want to push on, I'm just using my body to do it, you just want to push down on the bottom part to get it in there. Now if you can't get it in, then just put the bottom part in first. It's going to be kind of like that, and then you get this top piece, and if you look at it, there's only one way it goes in. So if you go like that, push it down. Okay. This one here. There we go. So we got all the clips on there. They're a little pain to get in, but you can get them in. Cover's back on. That was all popping out before, so we got it all back in there, right? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Did take me quite a while to do this, just because I was filming it. But besides that, it should take you maybe about an hour and a half if you already know what you're doing. I was kind of learning as I was going along. Hopefully this helps you out. If you have any questions, hit me up. Thanks for watching.